Kelly in Syracuse, New York, and thank you for your question. So she asked me, when you say to practice something 1,000 times, do you actually track it? If so, how? That's a good question. And for those of you who follow the site, you know, like I have this thing I say a lot, which I got from Earl Scruggs, repeat 1,000 times. But actually people have kind of rightfully so criticized me on that, because like what if you're playing it wrong 1,000 times? Is that good? And that's a great point. You know, if you're going to be playing something 1,000 times, the idea is that it's not just a mechanical thing that you're just checking off, you know, 100 times a day or something. The idea is that you practice that thing in a lot of different ways. You really tap into your creativity to practice it. So if you're practicing like a string changing thing, like I'm working on an Orange Blossom Special lesson. So if you're practicing that, you have to do it 1,000 times in order to get it. But maybe you explore different ways to practice it. Like maybe you practice just the bowing without fingering. Then maybe you try to do the bowing with more double stop feel. And then maybe you do it on different strings. So, and in addition to like the creative practice, you want to be asking yourself what's working, what's not. In other words, you want to pay attention. So you're not just mechanically doing something 1,000 times. You're paying attention to, okay, what's hard here? Oh, it's that. Oh, it's maybe when I try to add fingerings to the Orange Blossom Special. That's really hard to play in tune. Okay, so now how can I just practice the fingerings? So then you break it down and do that. So anyway, when I say repeat 1,000 times, it means you're going to play it, whatever it is, a whole lot, but you're going to be learning from it. You're not just kind of blindly doing it. Hopefully that makes sense. And then the second part of Kelly's question is, do you track it? And if so, how? So be honest, Kelly, I've only tracked it once, and I don't even remember what it was for, but I think I was learning something like a couple years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, and I just resolved to practice it, like to get to 1,000. And basically what you can do, you can just do a little math to figure out, well, if I do it 50 times a day, then that equals about 20 days. Is that right? Yeah. So 50 times a day, if it's a tune, that's going to be a lot. It's going to be maybe too much. So maybe you need more time. But a lot of the repeat 1,000 times, helicopter alert, that's a sign that we're in Los Angeles. Lots of helicopters. Okay. So yeah. So you could track it, and if you really were into it, and if anybody's interested in doing this, I'm just going to lay out a little plan and let me know how it goes. It may not be ultimately necessary, but the idea is basically you play something every day for like 10 minutes for like a 3-week period, and then you've roughly done it 1,000 times. If it's you know, like the Orange Blossom Special, so maybe I'll practice it like 10 reps in different ways, 10 times now. Then I'll take a break. I'll do something else. Maybe I'll go and play a scale and go back to the Orange Blossom Special. And then maybe I'll do a tune like She Begged She More, the opening tune. And back to the Orange Blossom Special. And you eventually get to that 50 times a day for that little thing. And that means in roughly 20 days, you've done it 1,000 times. So it's easier with a little piece. And with a tune, you could do it 1,000 times. It may just take you a longer time, but just be patient and just keep returning to it and paying attention to it. So let me see, I had a few other notes on that. Yeah, so this works better. Oh yeah, here's the last thing. So that I want to touch upon that idea of like playing something a little bit, doing something different, going back to the first thing, something different, is a new term, kind of practice term that I'm teaching and talking about called interleaving. And anybody can do this, the most beginner student, most advanced student. So if you're a beginner, you can go between just bowing on open strings and maybe plucking little things. And then back to open strings. So you see, that way, your brain, when you switch gears, you're still working on that other skill, and it's just kind of giving it a little time off. And then the most advanced players, you know, like somebody doing Orange Blossom Special or vibrato or playing in higher positions, you do a little bit of that, and then you switch to your piece, then you go back. And this back and forth is called interleaving. Okay, so I think that about answers that question. And so long story short, if you do want to play a small little thing 1,000 times, if you do it for about 10 minutes a day for about 3 weeks, you're going to get there. And by small thing, I mean like a little 2-bar exercise. And with a tune, I haven't done the math on it, but you could, you know, if you play it like 5 times a day, then, you know, you want to do it 1,000 times, that's 200 days. But you could do it. I mean, you know, like just have a long view. Like maybe it takes you a year, but it's not like you're only doing that tune. You know, you do other tunes. But if you keep playing Kerfunkin' Jig or something over the span of a year, you probably play it 1,000 times. All right.
Go to fiddlehead.com for a progressive step-by-step course outline, color-coded tabs, play-along tracks, sheet music, and much more.
Thanks for watching the video. Excellent.
And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.